Good morning, everybody. Today we're making some meringue cookies, all right? And they happen to be chocolate chip meringue cookies. So the first thing that I did was I separated some eggs and I put the yolks away, and what I'm left with is just 2 egg whites, all right? And I kind of left them out at room temperature because you want the chill to be taken off of your egg whites before you beat them. You'll get more volume that way. You also want to make sure that your bowl is completely clean as well as your beaters. All right, and I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna talk pretty loud so I can talk over this. Your egg foam is gonna go through a few different stages. As you see right now, there's big bubbles, and it's gone from a translucent to like an almost whitish big bubbly mass, all right? At this stage, what you're gonna do is you are gonna take a 1/4 cup of tartaric acid, which happens to be a little on the acidic side, and it is a stabilizer for the egg whites. So we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of that, all right? And we're gonna continue beating until the soft peak stage, and then we're going to gradually add our sugar. You don't want to add your sugar now, because if you add your sugar now, it's going to increase the beating time of your egg foam, and you don't want to do that, all right? The same thing with salt. It does not aid in making a beautiful foam straight off of the gate, so you want to add that later when this is becoming more of a soft peak stage. So if I lift it up, the foam kind of just hangs down. That's at the soft peak stage. That means I'm going to gradually add my flavorings, which is 1/8 of a teaspoon of vanilla. What's 1/8 of a teaspoon? Well, it's 1/2 of a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to add that. I'm gonna add, just to get it ready, a dash. What is a dash? It's like really 2 fingers and a thumb, but of a quantity, but that's a little bit too much, so I just kind of gave it a big, loose proportion of just my index finger and my thumb. All right, so now I'm gonna slowly and gradually add my sugar. This happens to be just granulated sugar, which is just white sugar. And if you had a KitchenAid, you could use this with that. I happen to be using my hand blender today. All right, and you're gonna continue beating this until those soft peaks still form. As you see, when I added my sugar, it kind of liquefied the mixture a little bit. So I'm gonna continue whipping it until I see more of a formation on that foam. I'm going to give this another minute, and I think it should be okay. Nice and glossy, and it's looking like it's taking more of a shape, so I'm gonna stop it, and those peaks are still kind of bending, okay? So that's the soft peak stage. If the peaks stood straight up, that would be the stiff peak stage, but for this recipe we want the soft peak stage. All right, so the next part of my recipe is I'm gonna take my cocoa powder and my salt, and I'm just gonna tap that in. You're gonna notice that this recipe does not have any flour, which means that it is gluten-free, and it also does not have any chemical leaveners, okay? The leavening agent is really the incorporation of air through all of this agitation that we're doing, okay? And it's also gonna have a little bit of volume through the evaporation of water. Now this is meringue, which means that it's gonna be a hard meringue. All right, so now I'm just gently incorporating my cocoa. And the last thing I'm gonna add is my chocolate chips, okay? So folding, what is that? You're turning, you're going down, up, and over. Turn, down, up, and over. Nice and gentle. You're gonna add your chocolate chips. These happen to be semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can add whatever flavor that you want, okay? Now, my cocoa seems to be on the side of my bowl, so I'm just trying to just take that out and incorporate it into the mass. All right, so that is what we are looking for. I have lined my sheet pan with some parchment paper, and I'm just gonna take my ice cream scoop and scoop it on. Okay. If you don't have this, that's not a problem. What you can do is you're just gonna take it by a tablespoon and just add it onto your baking dish. Okay. So once I scoop all of these, they are gonna go into an oven that is about 275 degrees for about 30 minutes, all right? And at that low of a temperature, the water is gonna evaporate nice and slow, and you should end up with nice, light, and airy meringue cookies, okay? And you can see the beautiful wave on all of these. They're really a nice soft peak texture. All right, so the yield of this recipe, and again, the yield is how much the recipe makes, I believe is about 12 cookies. It's not gonna make much more than that, okay? And depending on the size of your cookie, or the size of your scoop and your spoon, is really going to determine how many you make. But the scoop that I'm making today has made 12. So this is going to go into my oven that I've already preheated for, again, 30 minutes at 275. And we'll come back and we'll taste them when they're ready. All right, so our meringue cookies have been in the oven for about, it actually took a little longer. So they were in the oven for about 45 minutes. And then we just kind of let the oven door stay ajar while they further dried. And they spread out a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're pretty hard. And they are like a sticky tacky on the inside. All right, and let's try it. So they're really crunchy, and it almost tastes like chocolate, like cotton candy. So that is the finished product. If you want them a little more dried, you could have left them in the oven for a little longer, but that is our finished chocolate meringue cookie. All right, cheers. I love you. Have a great day. Here comes a cookie monster.